St. Elizabeth policeman dies after being found unresponsive at home. The police in St. Elizabeth are mourning the sudden death of a colleague who was discovered unresponsive at his home. Dead is Constable Romeo Howe of Wilton District in Gosman. Howe was attached to the Area 3 Highway Patrol Division. Reports are that about 7:40 he was found unresponsive at his home. He was assisted to the Black River Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Vybz Kartel says he's living in Florida, avoiding areas of Jamaica he once frequented. Jamaica's dancehall superstar Vybz Kartel has stated that he is now living in Florida in the United States. He made the disclosure during an appearance on the Breakfast Club during a discussion on Friday morning. Of course not, Kartel replied when asked that if Jamaica was a safe space for him. I live here in the United States. I live in Florida, he added when asked if he was living in Jamaica primarily. When pushed on whether it was the Jamaican government or the people who made him feel uneasy about staying back in Jamaica, Kartel said no. I spent 13 years in prison, like seriously, that's not a joke. I need to go out now and I'm working. Florida is good because it's a hub. You can go to New York, you can go across the Atlantic, England, go west, you're in LA. It's a nice place to be geographically, where we can just move about, he noted. Kartel's real name, Adidja Palmer, said he is not going back to those areas in Jamaica that he once frequented. I am just staying out of trouble. I don't want to be in nothing negative, never. So we stay away from that, he remarked. Kartel was free from prison on July 31 last year after 13 years behind bars for the murder of his friend Clive Lizard Williams. His conviction was overturned by the United Kingdom Privy Council, which cited misconduct on the part of the jury. That decision was upheld by the Jamaica Court of Appeal. Vybz says legislative amendments to be required to revamp system for demonstration plates. Transport Minister Vybz says legislation amendments will be required to revamp the system for demonstration plates. This is an effort to support a more secure and accountable demonstration plate regime. A demonstration, DC, or blue plate is used for automobile trade in relation to moving cars from the wharf or for demonstrating the cars for sale. Speaking at a post-conference press briefing, Mr. Vybz said there is a growing concern about the widespread misuse of blue plates in Jamaica. He noted that the vehicle involved in a crash which claimed the lives of 4 people in St. Mary recently had demonstration plates. Mr. Vybz said these plates are not to be used as intended under the Road Traffic Act, noting that Tax Administration Jamaica TAG does not have an accurate count of plates. He said there are also opportunities for cloning and use by criminals. Mr. Vybz said a total revamp of the current system will be done. He explained that a web-based demonstration permitted system will be established. The Transport Minister noted that the move will create dealers' online application and the ability to specify the use of the permits, among other things.
DC plate is used for the trade, the automobile trade, in relation to moving cars from the wharf, demonstrating the cars for sale, etc. So there's a growing concern about the widespread misuse of demonstration plates in Jamaica. In many places, these plates are not being used as intended under the Road Traffic Act and associated regulations. Disturbingly, there's credible evidence that demonstration plates are being exploited by individuals to facilitate criminal activities. Compounding the issue, the police are currently unable to trace these plates through their smart check system. Currently, Tax Administration Jamaica does not have an accurate count of the demonstration plates currently in circulation. This gap in oversight has created opportunities for cloning and unauthorized use by criminal elements. As a result, the government is losing revenue, and the lack of control over this system poses a serious threat to public safety and national security. To address these challenges, legislative amendments will be required to overhaul the system and support a more secure, transparent, and accountable demonstration plate regime. The government will embark on a total revamp of the current system and replace it with a web-based demonstrated permit system. Dealers are able to access demonstration plates as required, and the authorities are better able to enforce and monitor compliance with little resources. The benefits to the government and Jamaicans, ease in administration, management and enforcement, dealer online application, the ability to specify usage of permits, and printed permits, which will have a QR code for enforcement verification.
Committee questions Jamaica's treatment of undocumented migrants. The Committee on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of Their Families has raised questions on Jamaica's current bilateral agreement in place, most notably with Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom, and the treatment of undocumented migrants. The committee on Thursday concluded its consideration of the combined initial and second periodic report of Jamaica, and while it commended the country on training programs in raising questions on the current bilateral agreement, committee expert and country corruptor said Jamaica should be congratulated on the state's various training programs for officials, asking questions about specific training pertaining to the convention, while another committee member asked about the labor agreement in place between Jamaica and the US, Canada, and the UK. They expressed concern about how the provisions affected Jamaican migrant workers in those countries, the kind of consular diplomatic representation Jamaica has in those countries, what the main challenges faced were, and whether Kingston addressed these challenges. A fellow committee member raised concerns about migrants approaching Jamaica from Cuba by boat and how were they treated when they did not have their documents. How did the state return them? What happened to those who were found undocumented in Jamaica? Where were they sent? Who provided legal aid to the migrants? But the Jamaican delegation, headed by acting charge d'affaires of Jamaica's permanent mission to the United Nations and other international organizations in Geneva, Ms. Turner, said Jamaica has bilateral working arrangements in place with Canada and the US, although the agreement with the US was not a written agreement and was more of an understanding. She noted that many Jamaicans have traveled to the UK after World War II to work, but there was no current bilateral agreement in place with the UK. According to the Jamaican delegation, a seasonal agricultural workers program was in place with Canada, which had been created in 1966 and re-signed in 1995. Each worker was required to sign an employment contract, which entitled them to lodgement meals and payment of wages. Jamaica has appointed liaison officers in Canada after 4 officers, where the largest concentration of workers were located. The delegation said Jamaican law considered irregular migrants as being in breach of the detention law, and when they were detained, their rights were entrenched within the Jamaican Constitution. Irregular migrants are held at local police stations, usually close to their place of entry. If a person requests to apply for refugee status, they cannot be removed from Jamaica until the application is considered, regardless of their nationality or means of entering the country. The state does not seek to criminalize those in irregular migration. There is no cross-contamination of migrants, with conviction men and women, even if they were housed in correctional facilities. Jamaica's Minister of Labor and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr., speaking via a video recording, said migration was an integral part of Jamaica's national experience, and the country continues to prioritize policies that promote safe, orderly, and regular migration in alignment with the international standards. Jamaica is home to a growing number of migrant workers, primarily from the Caribbean, who contribute significantly to sectors such as agriculture, education, healthcare, and tourism. He said the country's labor laws provided core protection, including equal pay, non discrimination, and workplace safety, in accordance with international standards. Efforts are underway to streamline the work permit process to make it more efficient and accessible, ensuring that migrant workers were able to work legally and benefit from the protection to which they were entitled. Jamaica maintains a zero-tolerance approach to all forms of exploitation, including trafficking in persons. The National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons continues to spearhead national efforts in prevention, prosecution, and victim support. He said Jamaica has strengthened monitoring systems to identify and prevent exploitation labor practices and has expanded training for immigration and law enforcement officials to improve their capacity to identify, investigate, and respond to trafficking cases, including those involving migrant workers. Despite this process, challenges remain, including expanding access to social protection for all migrant workers, regardless of their status, and strengthening data collection to improve policy responses to migration trends. Jamaica remains fully committed to enhancing bilateral and regional cooperation to improve labor migration framework, continuing efforts to prevent exploitation and trafficking in person, and ensuring timely and effective engagement with international mechanisms, including the committee he noted. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.